Hey guys, welcome back to my show. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to describe your settings, as well as we will be doing a book talk on the book Seize the Story. It's an amazing handbook, we'll talk about that later on, as well as an author talk on the author of Seize the Story. Um, we will talk more about that later on, but until then, let's start. So, let me start with telling you guys about the book which I was talking about earlier, Seize the Story, written by Victoria Hanley. It's an amazing handbook for teens who love to write. In fact, even if you're younger than a teen, you can still read it. It's an amazing resource. So, it's like it has amazing feedback and tips and resources and all sorts of things in it. It even has interviews from famous authors. And yeah, so basically, this author who wrote this book, she interviewed successful authors of young adult literature, including Chris Crutcher, David Lubar, Laura Miracle, and many more. And they add their own advice for teens who want to write. Creative writers will love this book, as I said earlier. Now, this is for writers who are interested in writing fiction, but if you are doing either you're writing fiction as in like working on a novel or working on a story or just writing for fun, you can still use this book. It's an amazing resource. And yeah, now on to our author talk on the author. Victoria Hanley's novels for teens are published in dozens of countries in 10 languages. Her books have received many honors, including placement on the Texas Lone Star Master List, the Oklahoma Sequoia Award Master List, the Utah Beehive Award List, and the Colorado Blue Spruce Award List, as well as earning an International Reading Association's Young Adults Choice Selection, the Colorado Book Award, and the Kullbacher Klapperschlange Award in Germany. She's also a member of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, the Colorado Association of Libraries, and the Colorado Authors League. So yeah, that's some of the things. Some of the praise her book got is from the School Library Journal is complex. It is a complex and engrossing book. From the Publisher's Weekly, she got like the praise that it sings with excitement, and from Kirkus Reviews, they say it's solid and satisfying. So if you guys want to read that, you can just check out the book Seize the Story from your local library, or buy it from Amazon or your local bookstore. Now on to our settings, like how do you describe settings. Now for the ones just a small reminder, I'm pretty sure you all know this by now. Settings is where your story, novel, poem, whatever you're writing takes place. It is what establishes or determines the actions or things your character is doing. So let's say, because like the setting actually determines what way your character will behave as well, right? So let's say a character is in the doctor's place, they would be hushed down and quiet. Whereas if they were in the field playing football or basketball, they'd be loud because they're playing. So depending on the setting, if you change the setting from one place to another, you will have different qualities or traits or even like different kind of actions and all of those stuff your character would be doing. Now onto our like part where like why setting is important. It's there to like, if you describe your setting clearly, it'll be creating a special effect on your reader's mind, which means when the reader reads your book, novel, or your piece, they'll be able to imagine your world. Especially if you're writing fantasy or science fiction, you need to have great world building. And if you have like a good setting, it makes like a perfect picture in your reader's mind, right? And it provides like a rich background that is like engrossing to the reader. Now, some way you can do good, have a good setting is either by a made-up setting if you're doing a fantasy and science fiction, or you could do like a place or even a country, anything. I mean, country is a place, and yeah, you can do it that way, or even you can use a geographical location. This again, it can be anything. Geographical location which is real, unreal, in between, parallel universes, all of that you can do. Now on to our actual tips which I have for you guys is you should always remember to use your five senses and like basically try using all of them. Show, do not tell. That's like the one tip which every author and every person out there who writes would give aspiring authors and writers, which is that show, don't tell, because when you're telling, you're not really creating a connection with the reader, but when you're showing, you're not spoon feeding the reader with information and you're making it more fun for the reader to read and not bore them. Another thing is that if you're writing fantasy, it would be a great idea to create your own world. Like create two worlds, maybe one which is real, so that's the starting point, and then your fantasy world could be a made up name, or you could just, I don't know, maybe pull out some random letters, join them together, maybe form a word or language or something, right? Just remember that do not overdo your setting descriptions, because that would like take the reader out of the book, which means that their interest will get lost, so they won't be really focused and when they'll be very disconnected. So that's another point to make. So yeah, that's all the tips I have. Before I end this, I would just like to say I was interviewed recently by Story Kings podcast, and I would love for you all to check that out. I'll put the link in for that for that in the description box, and you can check that out later on. Thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye guys, and until then, keep reading and writing.